Hello there, it's Jan here at JB Crafts. Thank you for joining me on the channel today. I've got something new again today. Well, I'm saying new, it's resurrected. We're going to have a game of Crafty Bingo today. Now, this is not my idea. I want to say that right from the beginning. This has been out for years and years. And yes, there are other people who have used it on their channel. I've used it, over 10 years ago, I think, when I was blogging regularly and I had my own blog challenge. I've used it back then, and I was just sort of flicking through some of the things the other day and thought, oh, do you know what? I've not done this on my YouTube channel. So yeah, I'm not claiming it's a new idea. I'm not claiming it's my idea, and I haven't actually seen it recently on another channel, but it may be out there. The reason I say that is that I had a comment from somebody the other day on one of my videos where I'd used something that I'd seen elsewhere and accused me of not crediting the person for that idea, and they clearly hadn't watched the video. Which is frustrating for me because I credited the lady at the beginning, and I'm sure I mentioned it again towards the end of the video. So not claiming that it was my idea at all. I had actually referred to the lady and her channel within the video on more than one occasion. So yeah, it does pay. If you're flicking through videos, you might see something that you think you've seen somewhere else. But if you're not watching the videos, then you're not getting the information. So yeah, I did reply to the comment explaining that I'd mentioned the lady twice in the video. So yeah, if you've seen this on other channels, that's fine. I just wanted to bring it to my channel. And all it is a simple 9-grid bingo card. And I've made these myself. As I say, I did this years and years and years ago when I was running a blog challenge and I was blogging on a regular basis. And basically, it's just got different ideas in here for you to play a game of bingo. Get the words out, Jan. So yeah, it's basically you choose a line, and you can choose any horizontal line, any vertical line, or any diagonal line, just like you do in bingo. If you want to try and use everything, you can. It is just another idea for thought starters for projects. So for the first one, for my card that I've actually prepped today, I've used the top line. Now, you don't have to just use these things. You can use anything on your project, but you have to include something from here. So I've made a card today, and it's a baby card. It's a new baby card, and I've gone with the top line. I've gone with the pink, the pearls, and the lace. So this is what I actually made. And it's recreated from a design that I did years and years ago, as I say, with the bingo on my blog. And I thought, right, let's just bring it up to date. I've got some new sort of dies and things in there. I've added a little bit different, and it's sort of brought it back to sort of a newer style. So it's a very, very old stamp. And I'm talking like one that I had in my stash prior to me working in the industry. This is what I had many, many, many years ago. And I love these stamps. It's a collection. They're called Fizzy Moon. And he's a little bear, and I've got several of them, and I've been going through some of my older craft stuff that got put away while I was working in the industry, and I've been digging stuff out. And again, I'm always, sort of suggesting that you go through your stash and see what you've got, but I absolutely adore this little guy, and they've been looked after, they've been packed away properly, so I was able to take it out and stamp it. And he's the little bear, he's holding the star in this particular one, and it has got some sentiments, but I've used a different one for this, and that's what I've stamped out on here. Done a little bit of alcohol colouring, and then the star is paper piece, so I've just stamped the star section again onto some pattern paper, added a little bit of extra colour and cut it out and paper pieced it in. Now I've already done that section ready for my card today because I don't want to spend an age doing the colouring and everything. So that's my stamp set. As I say, the range is called Fizzy Moon. If any of you have got them in your stash, dig them out, have a play. It's been really good fun getting some of the older things back out and having a look at them. So you can see I've chosen the pink as a colour scheme. Pearls are not a problem for me. Any of you that know me know that I love my gems and my pearls and, the accents. So yeah, we've got them in the middle of the stars here. I've got some that run through the design. no problem. And then the lace, I've actually got a piece of lace running here just underneath this edge. This is actually proper lace that I've got out of my drawer. And then I've also popped a lace doily under here, which is what was on the original design. So this is my baby girl one. And then inside I've just got a nice congratulations on your new baby. A few of the scraps that were left over from some of the glitter card, the backing papers, that kind of thing. And then a little star just to link it to the front. So that's what I've done for my prep one. And then I thought for the video today, we'll do another line, and I'm going to do the same design, but we're going to do the blue for a boy. So we're going to go across the bottom here, and we're going to do the blue as a colour scheme with twine and buttons. All right, so instead of pearls and lace, we're going to go for a colour scheme with twine and a button or buttons. These can be multiple. You know, you don't, you know, for example, you could go vertical down here. You could do lace, a flower. The button could be the flower centre. You might have a button shaped flower. You know, the different ways of doing it. You could go this way and do twine, tag and lace. You could stencil a lace pattern onto your tag, put some twine in the top of the tag. You know, charms, tags, flowers. You know, the tag might be a design on your card front. You could decorate it with flowers. You could dangle a little charm in the top where you put the ribbon through the tag. Pink tag and button, again, you know, you could sort of use pink pattern paper on your tag, cut it into a tag shape. You could add the button at the top, or you could add the buttons on as decoration. So many different ways of interpreting it. It's just another little bit of fun to get your thoughts thinking about what you might like to do as a project. So we'll leave that to one side, and we'll put the card to one side. And like I said, I'm going to create it in blue today for you. So I've done some prep. It is a 6 3/4, if I remember rightly, the card blank. Yeah, 6 3/4, which will fit in a 7-inch shop envelope. All right, so I've gone for 6 3/4 square on my card, and it's just a plain white card blank. It's actually a 7-inch one that I cut down slightly so that it would fit in the 7-inch envelope. And then I've created the background matten layer. And I've gone for the same background paper. This one had pink glitter card in the background and then a pink solid. This time I've gone for a little bit of silver in the background because my glitter card was completely the wrong blue. It was way too deep and was taking over rather than, you know, this part being the front. So I've gone for silver satin mirror card in the back there. Then I've gone for a blue solid, which is a nice blue shade. And then I've got the same backing paper as what I've got here, which is just that neutral tone. Okay, so this one's going to go straight on the background, and we'll get that one stuck down so that we can be working on the next layer. All right, so let's just pop that one down. So as far as measurements are concerned, on here I've come down 1/4 inch. So my oh, I'm telling a fib, I've come down 3/8 inch. So my silver layer measures 6 3/8, which is just giving me a nice border of the white of the card showing. Then I've come down 1/8 inch, so I think the blue will be 6 1/2. Sorry, 6 1/4. So let me do that again. 6 3/8 for the silver, 6 1/4 for the blue, and 6-inch square for the pattern paper. Okay, and that's going to be my background matten layer. All right, you can just do one matte layer if you wish, if you don't want to add, but with it being a new baby, I wanted it to be a nice, you know, detailed design, because it's not very often a new baby comes around. Well, it might be more often than we think, but in our family, you know, it doesn't happen mega often. So it's nice to sort of pull all the things out and have a play and make it look really pretty. So we'll get that one stuck down, and that can be drying while we work on that next layer. So somewhere knocking about, I have got my acrylic block. I've got such a massive pile of things down here on the floor that wants sorting out. Here we go. So I'm just going to prop that on there, give it a good press down, and leave that on there to dry. And we'll pop that to one side. So the next part that I'm going to work on is this top section here. All right, and again, I've got my panel ready. So this time I've got the silver in the background because I took the glitter card from the very back layer for this one. So I've taken the silver card from the very back layer of my mat, and I've I've chosen a corresponding pattern paper out of my scrap stash. I just went in my pale blue scrap stash, and this was a piece that was big enough. I've got a couple of offcuts that'll go back into the scrap, and I've just chosen that's going to be the piece that fits here. Now, because we've gone along this bottom line, I didn't need to include the lace this time. All right, so I'm not going to pop the lace in, but I am going to use, I like the doily offset behind it, but I'm not going to add this bit in because we're going to use twine and a button. Now this one, I just ran a little tiny bit of my washi tape, which was this one. So it is actually wider. I've just popped it on my craft mat and cut it along the middle here so that I've got a narrower piece, just to break up this sort of vertical with the horizontal, and it links that darker print to the dark outline of the stamp. There was nothing else on there that had the darker colour, so that was the reasoning behind that. This one, I'm going to bring the twine in to create this cross piece here, which is on our card. So we've got the blue, we're going to bring the twine, and what I've done is I've measured up where I want the twine to come, and I've just taken a little tiny bite out of here. You can just see it with my hole punch. All right, and that's where I want the twine to start wrapping round. Now this bit will disappear under the topper, so I'm not too worried about this. Sometimes I do it at both sides when I'm wrapping twine around it, but I thought we'll just do it on this left hand side for now. And I'm going to take some twine. I've got some blue and white striped twine. I've got some tape on the back ready, so let's just take those bits off there. I'm just going to close my glue up for a second, and then I'm going to stick this on the back here. Stick it on the bit, do you know, try it on the bit that you've took the liner off, Jan, and I'm going to go round. You see this, the twine just sits in that little nick then, and because this has got a pattern on, I know roughly where that straight edge is, and I'm going to go round about, I think there's enough to go round 3 times. Yep, more than enough there. And I'm not going to tie anything on this one. I just wanted that cross piece there. So again, should have took that off first, Jan. Working back to front today, aren't I? Yep, so let's just bring that back in line, stick those down, and then I can trim off that end. I don't need that bit. So that's just created me that nice piece that's crossing it, and it's also ticked off the blue and the twine on my little bingo card. So this is now ready to go on our background. So we'll bring that back in now, and this one's going to stick just to the right hand side here. And like I said, I'm not going to bother with the lace under the edge here. So we'll get that glue out again. The twine's not deep enough for it to cause a problem with the laying it down flat. I'm just going to use my all-purpose glue. Add some on the back there, and then I'm just going to pop this so that I've got about an even border on these 3 sides. So that's going to be like an inlaid section, and it's laying flat. This is not thick enough, this twine, for it to cause a problem. If you've got a thicker twine, you could always pop some 1mm foam tape under here just to allow for the twine, but mine, I can feel mine's laying. We're nice and flat there. Look, it's not caused a problem. So this is now ready to create the next part of it. So like I said, I've stamped out my little guy here, and I've coloured him this time with the blues instead of the pinks. So this was another piece of scrap paper. I'd just again been in the scrap box, pulled out a different piece that toned with the blue, and stamped just this part of the image again. Cut it out, cut round his little paws and everything, and then I've just added some colour with my alcohol marker that I'd used for the ribbons here, and this is going to be our main focal point on the design. So I've used alcohol markers to colour them in, but if that's not your thing, you could use your crayons. You could stamp and paper piece the whole stamp, you know, if you're not a colourist. There's lots of different ways of doing it. And then I've also got, I like the doily behind, it's just offset slightly, and yeah, it brings it out of here, but you could potentially get away with just folding this round to pop it in the envelope. It would flick back out again. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pop some glue on the back of here, just in the center, because I'm not worried that the topper's going to hold it down. And I only want a little tiny bit of it off the edge and roughly central, so that I've got equal parts of this bit showing here. So we're going to go, I think, about there. Press that down, and then we're going to do the same with this one. I've got some tape on the back of here ready, just so that it sticks nicely to that doily. So we'll take the liner, just the liner. Do you know, everything's been playing up for me today. I don't know, we've got thunderstorms on our weather forecast here today in Yorkshire, and I think it's messing with it, with everything. I've just recorded another video before this, and I'd got my stamp on a stamp block and tried to ink up the side of the acrylic block that didn't have the stamp on. I'm like, what is going on today? Yeah, we're going to pop him. I'm just going to use my tweezers to so that I can get him in place, because I want to make sure that this part is running nice and straight, and I want this to be inside the parameters of the card. So I'm just going to hold it like so, and I think I'm happy with him there like that, and then give that a press down. So that's all in place ready. And then I dug out some of my alphabet sets. I've got a couple here that I've used. I've got this one, which I've had a while. This is off, I think it was off Amazon, I believe. And I've taken, that's the same lettering that I used for this one. You can see I've used the G-I-R-L for girl. And then I came up with the fact that, oh, the B-O-Y is only 3 letters. So I wanted to keep the same layout. So what I've done is I've done 4. We've got the B, the O, and the Y, and just to keep it in the same format, I've just popped a little heart on the last one so that we've got the 4 pieces running straight. So again, I've put some tape on the back of these so that it's nice and quick. And if we take the backer off, I'm going to position the top one and just come in a fraction from the edge like so. Then I'm going to position the bottom one, and then that shows me how much space I've got to do the other 2. So this one can come in about the same distance, just nestles nicely under that twine. It was almost as if I planned it. And then take the liner off these 2. And then we know how much space we've got in between, rather than starting at the top and getting them not quite evenly spaced. So I'm going to use this one as a spacer while we get this one in place. And yeah, I think we've got room for about just under 1/8 of an inch between them, like so, because the twine's taking up the space of the other one. So yeah, I'm happy with those. So that's my detail along the side there. And then I also use these little ones again that I've had a while. These, I think, not sure if these weren't from maybe an Etsy store, I can't remember. But yeah, they cut out like little banner details. So let's bring in the rest of the embellishments. But I've done the B-A-B-Y. And this is going to go across the top to match again what we had here. You could string it as bunting if you wanted to. I did think about that, but I like the angles on here. So we're just going to use a little tiny bit of acrylic glue. I think I can pop the other glue away now. Because I'm working on smaller items, I tend to just go with the acrylic. And then let's have a look. We're going to do one of the bees. And again, it only needs a little bit on the back to just secure it in place. And I'm going to line it up like I did the other one. So it's right up to the top of this section, and the bee, the second bee, came down the side of that pattern paper. So I'm just going to lift it to make sure it's straight at the top, rather than you getting my head in the video. And then I chose to do the lettering in just some scrap brown, and again just linking it back to this because this was the only brown on the design. So just bringing that in there. I've done white banners, and then I've just used some scrap, almost like a pale craft colour, to link it to the little bear itself. And then this one's going to come here, and then the last one in place. And then the one that I made years and years ago that was on my blog had flower embellishments on. But when I looked at it, I wasn't keen on it on flowers. I thought, you know, it's got a star here, which is why I picked all the star embellishments. I think it just sort of tied it all together. And I've kept that. I've done that with this one. And we've got, these are actually a button star, funnily enough. Now, I'd actually done this on the pink one before I decided to go with the blue. So you could actually use this element as your button if you wish. You could thread some more twine through these and use it as the button, but I'm actually going to use buttons as well. I've got some little tiny buttons that we're going to use to embellish with. So yeah, I've cut 3 of the button ones and 2 little tiny ones with my dies. As I say, it's just a little die that I've had for a while. So what we're going to do is pop these one at the top. I just need that acrylic glue again, and again I'm just going to put little dabs of it on here, and we're going to go with one on this side here, and then I'm going to add one of the little dinky ones at the side of it so that we've got an offset at the top, like so. And then I'm going to bring 2 of them opposite so that we've got that contrast to the top there. And we're going to bring these ones sort of here and again at the side of it. Oops. And this one I just want to turn the angle slightly so that they're at different angles. And then what I did with the other one, and I think I'm going to do the same, because these are overhanging the edge, I'm just going to bring one of my little tiny foam dots, chop it in half, take this bit off, and then I just secured it because they were sort of hanging over the edge of the design. I'm just going to slide a little bit under here so that it's got some support under the edge of the star. This one's not so bad because it's not so far over. But yeah, take that liner off. It's a little bit fiddly, but I think these are the kind of the finishing touches that just make things look a bit more professional, because it is wobbling a little bit there, but just by popping this underneath, it's giving it a bit of an anchor. And then I've got one of the smaller stars left, so we've got an odd number. We've got 5 altogether, and I'm going to bring this one as a little trio, so we've got that offset here. And then for those big stars, rather than threading them, I've got some little tiny, out of my vast stash of buttons, I have a huge stash of buttons, and you won't be surprised to know that they're all stored in colour order. It's just the way the OCD works. And what I've done is I've put a tiny bit of red line tape on the back of these ready. So we're going to take the liner off. I'm going to use my tweezers with them being so small, and we're going to cover that button element in the middle there and use these in the centre of the stars, and this is going to tick off my 3rd element on the bingo card. So yeah, I did consider just using the button dies as the buttons, but I thought no, we'll actually go the whole way, and instead of putting pearls in the centres of this one, we'll use that button element from the bingo card and we'll pop these on. So this is just my interpretation of it, and then I'm going to put the last one up here like so. In fact, I think I'm going to turn that one, I'd gone the same way, but I think I'm going to turn that one that way. Yeah, that one, I'm not keen on that one like that either. Will it come up? Yeah. I want to turn it so that the holes are that way. I can live with that one. Ooh, come back. I'm going to go sort of more like that. Okay, so that's my blue design, which is very, very similar in lots of ways, but different in others. So we've got the same layout. I've kept the same background paper, but changed this one. I've done the same layout here by adding in the heart. You could have put another star there. I just didn't want to go overkill with the stars. I don't know, it's twins, you sorted, because you could put baby boys, isn't it? Yeah, lots of different ways. Or you could have just spaced the 3 out if you didn't want to add that 4th one in. And then we've done our main part of the card, same but different. We've got the different colourway, we've got the different embellishments. Rather than the pills, we've got the buttons. And then, as I say, I had put an insert. I've not done an insert for this one, but I've just gone very, very simple. Just some little offcuts off the pieces that I'd used. And this one, as I say, I've gone mad with the pearls on this one because it was on my pink pearls and lace line. This one, I may add some extra elements to it. You don't have to just stick. It's a case of the idea with the bingo card is whichever line you choose, you incorporate these into the design. So for example, I've got, I think they're a little bit turquoise on there, yeah, and the navy ones are too dark. So I might find some pale blue and just dot an odd one or two. Or I could use, actually, what would look nice? Let me just grab, I think I've got some Aurora ones in the drawer. They would pick up. Oh no, they've got too much pink cast in them. Yeah, I might just go for plain silver on the gems. And let me just see if I've got any stashed away. I've got so much in the drawer as far as gems are concerned. Have we got any silver? You never got the right ones at the right time, have you? I might add those afterwards. I might add them. You might see them in the photo. Just to draw it from here, like I have done with this one. We've gone from the bottom up through the picture and out through the top. So I might do the same. I could put the white ones on again, couldn't I? Oh, yeah, let's have a look. Oh, now then, here we go. Look, I've actually got decisions. I've got some nice, these are my Dreamies pearls, and there is a nice blue that's got the Aurora finish on. Are they going to show up enough, do we think? We just want the little ones, I think, not the big ones. Let's have a look and see what they look like, because I was going to start them the same here. Put them on here. And then once they get onto the white, the blue will be visible, won't it? So we're going to go same positioning. And then we just need 2 more of them to come up and out. Yeah, I think I like the blue. That's in keeping with the theme there, isn't it? So let's just pop those in. We just need a bit more glue and we'll pop those in place. Because there's nothing to stop you using something else off here. As I say, it's just okay. The idea with the bingo is whichever line you pick, you use those elements. So we've used the blue, we've used the twine, we've used the buttons. So that's ticked my line. So what I'm going to do with these then is just pop a tiny dot of the acrylic glue, because these are not self-adhesive. And that one's very close there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring one of them out here. That one's a bit too close, I think, there. So we'll pop him at this side. And then we're going to come back down here, tack that one down, and then starting just at the bottom there. That's it. See, Jan's a happy camper now because we've got our pearls in there, our little gems, whether they're pearls or gems. And again, it just draws your eye up through the design and up to the top of the card. Happy with that. So very similar layout to this one. We've just exchanged the pearls in the centre of the stars for the buttons to meet that line criteria on the bingo. So that was my pink design for a girl with that nice simple greeting inside. And then we've got the blue for a boy. So we've ticked the twine, the blue and the button. And again, you could pop the same sentiment inside there if you wished. So yeah, hope you've liked that today. Again, something a bit different, not necessarily something new, but it's just giving you ideas to have a play with if for any reason, you know, you were stuck for something to do that day. If you've got ideas flooding in your head, sometimes I have so many ideas in my head that I've got a scrapbook that I have to sort of just do little sketches or note things down. Otherwise, the next day when I get up, it was like, what was I thinking? But if you're stuck, sometimes when you sit down and think, I'm not quite sure what to do today, have a go. So If you want to join in it, it's not a challenge as such, but if you wanted to join in and have a game of Crafty Bingo with me, you can choose one of the lines on here, whether it be horizontal, whether it be vertical, or whether it be a diagonal. You can create a project. It doesn't have to be a card. It can be a tag. It could be a journal page. It could be a scrapbook page. It could be a gift card. Anything, absolutely anything, a gift box, a gift bag. It's just choosing a line off here. And if you want to upload your photos, you can find me on Facebook at JB Crafts. I would love to see what you've been doing. I will try and put a post on for this one, so that you've got it as a point of reference and you can pop your photos underneath. And yeah, I'd love to see what your take is. And I've got another, I'm going to keep doing these, and I've got different bingo cards that I've designed, and we'll keep throwing one in every now and again just as a thought starter for a project. So I'm going to leave it there. Please consider giving it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the content today. And I love hearing from you guys. I have started trying to reply more on my comments section now. Got a little bit more time now. And yeah, I will be back very soon with another tutorial for you. I've not decided what, I've not got the next one planned yet, so I've got to go away and have a think about it, yeah. And I'll be back with the next one for you in due course. So enjoy your day, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you then. Bye bye now.